Here's a fact that should stop you in your tracks. 69% of people end up regretting the car they bought. That's not a mistake. You're more likely to regret your used car purchase than to feel good about it. And guess what? Most of those regrets come from problems they didn't catch until after the money was gone. If you're thinking about buying a used car, I'll show you the #1 overlooked inspection that separates a solid purchase from a financial nightmare. Miss this step, and you're playing a very expensive gamble. Why would a spotless engine make a mechanic pause instead of smile? Most people see that polished metal, the hoses that almost look new, and assume it means the car has been babied. It looks like pride in ownership, right? That's exactly why it works as a trick, because buyers expect shiny to equal reliable. Sellers know this. They know the average person walking onto a lot sees a greasy, stained engine and feels nervous. So they flip the script. They steam clean away every trace of grime, and suddenly a 10-year-old car looks like it rolled out of a factory yesterday. Here's where the red flag waves. That sparkling engine is not really for you. It's for the seller. Imagine someone showing up to look at a car. The bay is pristine, no stains, no dust, not even a smudge on the cover. They buy it, feeling good about their sharp eye. 3 weeks later, the warning lights start flashing. Oil stains reappear on the driveway. A quick visit to a garage later, and it's revealed the engine has a chronic leak. The cleaning didn't fix anything. It only pressed pause long enough for the problem to stay hidden until after the buyer signed the papers. That is what steam cleaning erases. The evidence. Normally, you'd see dark patches around the valve cover, greasy edges near the oil pan, or residue under the transmission. Each of those marks is like a breadcrumb, leading to what's really happening inside. Over time, cars leave clues about their condition. Fluids seep, dust sticks, metal corrodes ever so slightly. When all of that is missing, it's not because the car magically avoided aging. It's because someone stripped away the clues, and the seller is betting that you won't know the difference. The trick works best with repairs that start cheap but explode if ignored. A small gasket leak might only cost a couple $100 if done early, but when that leak is left untreated, oil seeps deeper, coats other components, and even burns off into smoke when the engine runs hot. Suddenly, that clean car the buyer thought was a steal needs $1,500 of work. The shine set the trap, and the bill is the bite. So how do you fight back? You start with doubt instead of trust. When you see an engine bay so perfect it looks staged, ask yourself why. Natural wear creates marks over time. If you can't see them, assume they're being hidden from you. Because, more often than not, that bright shine is a disguise. A spotless bay isn't a badge of reliability. It's a sign you need to look deeper. And here's the twist. Even if someone wipes away every bit of evidence, the car still has another witness that's much harder to silence. The computer quietly records what's been going on, and it might be holding secrets the seller hoped you wouldn't check. How can a car sit on the lot, looking flawless, engine shining, dashboard clear, and still be hiding something that could cost you thousands? The secret is that lights on the dash don't always go out because the problem disappeared. Sometimes they're switched off on purpose. Sellers know buyers get nervous when they see a glowing check engine light, so before you even arrive, they use a scanner to erase those warning codes. The car looks calm and quiet, but that silence is the most deceptive part. What you're really seeing is a temporary cover-up. Here's how it works. Modern cars store trouble codes in their onboard computer. When a sensor picks up issues like misfires, exhaust problems, or fuel system malfunctions, it triggers the engine light. But all someone has to do is plug in a tool and clear the codes, making the warning vanish. The truth is, nothing was fixed. It's like pressing reset on a smoke alarm instead of dealing with the fire. For a while, the dash looks fine. But if you check deeper, the computer always tells a fuller story. That's where readiness monitors come in. Most people only think an OBD2 scanner spits out a list of error messages and nothing else. But the smarter use is checking readiness status. These monitors confirm whether the car has completed enough drive cycles to verify it's clean running. When codes have just been cleared, those monitors won't be ready yet. That unreadiness is a red flag, an immediate clue that someone forced the car into silence so it could be shown without suspicion. A buyer spending only $25 on a handheld scanner might discover multiple systems listed as not ready. exposing what would otherwise take days to reappear. Imagine stepping up to pay cash for that used sedan, plugging in a cheap scanner, and spotting half the monitors incomplete. That happened to one careful shopper who avoided what could have been a financial trap. With the codes recently cleared, it wasn't possible to know what had been wrong, but the half-finished monitors revealed the scam. Without checking, the buyer would have driven away, only for the light to pop on again later. At that point, the damage would already be theirs to handle. Cleared histories aren't just minor annoyances. They often hide repairs connected with emissions systems, which are some of the most expensive fixes out there. Replacing a catalytic converter alone can run between $1,000 to $2,500. Add oxygen sensors or fuel system issues, and the costs spiral quickly. Sellers gamble that you won't bother looking beyond the empty dashboard. It's no different than a student erasing the chalkboard before parents walk in. The mess disappears in seconds, but the failed grade is still sealed in the report. Buyers not using this 5-minute check are exactly who sellers count on. If you see monitors incomplete or pending codes hanging in limbo, the car is warning you to step back, walk away, because that silence won't last. And while the computer leaves digital footprints, your own senses can catch what still seeps through. Things no scanner can disguise. What if the strongest protection you have during a used car inspection isn't a fancy scanner or a mechanic's lift, but your own eyes, nose, and touch? It sounds almost too simple, but even after a seller has scrubbed an engine until it looks flawless, the smallest details can still give away the truth. Clean paint, polished surfaces, and fresh plastic shine often hide what owners don't want you to notice. Yet just beneath that cosmetic finish, small signs are waiting to be caught, if you know how to look for them. Think about it. When a car is handled with care, it develops little imperfections, honestly. But when a seller is trying to pass off a problem vehicle, they're counting on you taking just a quick glance. That's where you get the advantage. Grab a flashlight and kneel down. Look under the frame where most shoppers never check, along the edges of the transmission pan, the corners of the oil pan, or the seams around gaskets. You may catch thin lines of fresh fluid, or a buildup of sticky grime. Shiny outside surfaces don't stop leaks beneath the car. They only mislead buyers who don't bend down to look. And then there's the nose test. Burnt transmission fluid is one of the most obvious warning clues. Healthy fluid smells lightly sweet. Damage turns it into a sharp, acrid odor that doesn't wash away with soap. Inside the car, a musty smell is another sign, a clue that the car may have leaks that led to damp carpets or, worse, flood damage. Dealers can shampoo a seat, but they can't erase the deeper odor of mildew that has soaked into foam and insulation. In fact, after a full cleaning, a lingering musty scent becomes even more suspicious because it survived despite the seller's effort to cover it. Imagine opening the hood of a vehicle that gleams like it rolled out of a showroom. But as you lean closer, you smell that bitter burnt odor cutting through the fresh shine. No amount of waxed plastic covers the stress a transmission has already endured. That smell is a mechanical cry for help, and ignoring it could mean thousands in repairs. Sellers may hope you admire the look and skip the sniff test, but that's exactly why it works as a tool for you. Fluids, in general, act like a diary of how that car has been treated. Pull the dipstick. Thick black oil reveals neglect. Open the coolant reservoir. Milky fluid may suggest oil mixing with coolant, a problem pointing to gasket failure. Brake fluid running low can tell you the system has worn pads or leaks somewhere it shouldn't. Each of these small checks, ones you can perform with no special tools at all, warns about issues before they turn into a surprise bill. So next time you stare at a flawless engine bay, stop and think, was this cleaned as a point of pride or as a cover for a lie?